Hi there. I'm not going to pretend to be any kind of expert on coronavirus, far from it, but I can help you to manage the state of your nervous system, which ultimately helps keep the immune system at a better state as well. So let's start by saying that the nervous system's main job is to protect us at all costs. Problem is that the nervous system doesn't only protect us from actual danger, it protects us from any perceived danger. So if our nervous systems think that we are under threat, maybe, potentially, possibly, perhaps under threat, then it mobilizes a whole cascade of physiological and hormonal events that it's basically like mobilizing the troops in an army to protect us. And that's good in the short term and if there actually is a danger to fight against, but it becomes detrimental when that state remains ongoing, when we stay in that sympathetic or fight or flight mode. So the way that we can help ourselves right now during this crisis, where most of the news is quite negative, quite anxiety driving at the moment, we need to do things that cater to the parasympathetic nervous system, which we call the rest, digest, and repair state. It's like the counterbalance to the sympathetic system. So let me explain it another way. Our fight-flight mode, our nervous system would be like the alarm system on your house. So it's a good system to have that if someone breaks in through a window or a door, your alarm goes off to let you know. That will protect you. That's great. That's kind of the analogy of when our nervous system is working well. When our nervous system kind of goes a little wonky, a little haywire, which can happen if it's on overdrive because it's getting bombarded with too many danger signals, then what it would be like is as though your house alarm goes off every time a fly lands on the outside of your house. So imagine how anxiety driving that would be if you had that physical alarm bell, that high-pitched sound going off all day every time an insect landed on the outside of your house. Imagine how agitated and irritated and on edge you would feel. That same sort of thing tends to happen when your nervous systems are working on overdrive for you, when they become overprotective. There are many strategies that we know of now that have been proven with research, many strategies that can help kind of press the reset button on the nervous system so that we desensitize it to all of that input, so that we create more resiliency in the nervous system so that when an actual stressor, an actual perhaps danger comes in, we have the resiliency to deal with it. So I've got my bowl of I was going to say marshmallows because I was originally going to use marshmallows, but I ended up going with cotton balls. So imagine this bowl is representing your nervous system, and every cotton ball is a stressor in life. We have a capacity to handle a certain amount, and every extra stressor comes in, and they keep coming in. They never stop because that's life. We get stressors, and at a certain point, the system gets overridden and it starts to overflow. When that happens, that's when things like our health start to take a beating. That's when our immune system starts to go out of whack as well. Out of whack is not a very scientific term, but I think you get the idea. The great news is that there's a lot that we can do to help create more capacity, more resiliency in this nervous system. So every time you do a breath exercise, you're taking out some of these balls and creating a little more space. Every time you do a mindfulness exercise, you're creating a little more space. Every time you do a gentle movement practice that caters to your parasympathetic nervous system, you're creating a little more space. Every time you do something that brings you joy, you're creating more space. So now I've still got stressors in my system, but I've got room, I've got space, which allows me to have resiliency to actually deal with the next stressor that comes in. So now, if I hear a news report that's negative, it's going to come in, it's going to fill it up more, but I'm not at overflowing. And then after I hear that news cycle, you know what? I'm going to do some breath work. So I'm going to bring it back down to a more manageable level. So over the next several days or several weeks, whatever the case is going to be, I'm going to be posting both some breath exercises, some mindfulness practices, some guided meditation, and some movement practices. I'll try to offer you a lot of different styles. I will try to offer some short exercise classes and some longer ones so that it's catering to everyone. I'm also going to be offering some tips for those of you who are living in chronic pain and all of a sudden find yourself not able to go for the treatments that normally help you to manage things. The good news is there is a lot that you can do on your own at home, and I will guide you through that as best as I can. Please feel free to send me any questions and I'd be happy to try to answer them. Lastly, I'm going to focus most of the things that I post on catering to the parasympathetic nervous system, just because right now everyone is in that heightened sympathetic state. Although I know some of you want that burn, so I'll try to throw a few of those more traditional classes in there as well to cater to everyone. But for the most part, the first few at least are going to be more about calming the nervous system down and creating more space in this nervous system so that you have the resiliency to deal with the next stressor that is going to be coming in, because that is just life. So I hope these help. Stay tuned over the next few days and I'll post as much as I can. Take care.